Customer experience is so difficult to do because consistency of that service become very critical.
The more important thing is that you are touching on the right point, the right empathy, and not over empathizing or under empathizing in the sense.
Rosalind, we have robots, right?
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of CX Unlock, your gateway to seamless customer experiences. I'm Rosalind, your host for today, and it is with great pleasure to be introducing Sidney Yuen from Hong Kong, who is a well-known veteran in the contact center and CX space in Asia. So I've known Sydney for more than 10 years. I think we met back when I was the honorary secretary at the CCAS and you were the awards judge. So we really got to know each other, Sydney, when I was doing the awards judging for other countries, right? Do you remember?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Okay. Well, just to share further with the audience, Sydney holds so many portfolios and his interest is so vast. So, and spends way beyond CX. So I will have to spend 30 minutes, just to talk about your portfolio, but I'll try to do that in 5 minutes, okay? Based on your latest portfolio, I saw you're a venture partner with CarbonX Global, an independent non-executive director with RSC FinTech Co., and a board member of the Ireland Fund. So this is just a couple. While those are really, really interesting, we're here to concentrate on CX. So before we start, just to share with the audience, the last two past portfolio that I saw that is specifically in CX is your role in Convergence as the director of Asia Pac, and also in American Express as the director for customer service and new accounts, where you've headed their operations department, including the call center, customer service, fraud control, new accounts, blah, blah. Okay. And on top of that, you also do a lot of social and industry voluntary contributions, including the chairman of the Hong Kong Call Center Association, which I fondly know as the HKCCA, and also the Asia Pacific Contact Center Association leader. You were also a mentor for the Shenzhen Institute for Advanced Technology, Ping An Technology, Shanghai University, and so many more. And we can go on and on, but I think it's time for me to pass it on. For Sydney, anything else you want to add on before we start the ball rolling?
No, I think you have done a great job, Rosalind.
Okay, okay. So let's start then. So Sydney, since I knew you from the call center awards, you were a judge for so many contact centers in so many countries for years. Can you share with us, which organization stood out for you as a gold standard and what made them different in your perspective?
Okay. Hey, we have talked to so many contact centers, and they're all saying of what get measures get done. And we can look at how you're going to say it as equally important what to say at the contact center. So we find those winners who are really into how to phrase their conversation so that they think really, really good about you in terms of solving their problems. So we look at how we treat our customer with dignity. How do you treat the customer with empathy, as well as how do you treat them with respect? Now, examples of these, I like telling stories, and one of the stories I have is when I was running the operation where we have a contact center where you collect. When people don't pay, you do a collection. One is you do customer service. So we do a control group, or this company, what they have done is use the collection department using female feminine voice to try to collect money. And traditionally, we use men who will collect money. Say, for example, if you don't pay up, I burn your house, that kind of thing. So we did an experiment for a couple of months, and surprisingly, the people who have soft feminine voice try to empathize with the customers, collect more money than the harsh collectors who did not show any empathy. So, which means that, hey, if I have a problem, if I know that my company is going to resolve my problem by really understanding what I'm going through, I will be much more than willing to fulfill my and my application to pay up. So that's how a winning organization, a winning contact center, really focusing not just in technology, but also the way they were trained to develop empathy skills. So that's one of the example of gold standard. And obviously, the other one is linked very much with their customer value, their company value, the customer value, and people look at all the value systems in the company is customer satisfaction, respect, and all this. How do they really align with all this value? Tend to be um, much more long lasting in terms of the way they conduct their business.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
interesting to know. I'll be interested to know which company it is, but we can talk on
Hmm.
the back
Yeah.
offline. Since we talk about the good things and the good stories, probably would you be able to share as well in what you've seen so far in best in class organizations? What are the pitfalls that you've seen that they face? And how did they overcome it? So a story or two would be great.
Okay. Um, no, no company is perfect, right? So we look at all these contact centers. They are winning awards, and they're running their organization. They're doing well. And obviously, some of them realizing that, hey, today we are going to serve our customers, but again, the customer change all the time. So one of the examples I want to show you is where they look at customer experience as a department. And the pitfall of that is when they look at when they look at customer experience as a department, they they will lose their mark because we all feel that the customer experience management is everybody's responsibility, coming from the managing director to the cleaner of the organization. So remember one day we were judging one of the contact center, and the GM said if there are some waste paper on the floor, I don't wait and ask for the cleaner to pick up the rubbish. I do it myself. So the role modeling becomes so important. So if they start looking at customer experience contact center as a department, then they will eventually not continue getting best practice. So we're going to look at all these, and the latest phases like customer experience management or customer relationship management, where you integrated customer service, sales, and also with marketing into integrated units, so they don't have a silo mentality. So we feel that this is one of the most important things to create an ongoing best practice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I resonated because I have a client, for example, and it's interestingly, it's a government agency, so I won't name who it is, but I can see the engagement is different when you see directly from the CEO. He's taking an interest, when we are deploying a new technology to support the contact center in looking at the customer feedback, ensuring that this is what it is and what are the triggers, and going back into a change management process that is very clearly coming from the top. And that works because today they are one of the top agencies that we can see in Singapore. They are, they have great initiatives, and they roll out. They are so particular about their apps, their customer management or citizen management, plus their website, and everything is really great. So I do believe that that part really is important. So right. So in our past conversations, one of it, you shared a viewpoint that, best practice today is tomorrow's worst practice. So can you expand a bit further on it and maybe share one or two examples to enlighten us more?
Yeah, it's a good. I think it's a good discussions on this because people become complacent. Organizations become complacent. Just imagine they're winning award every year, and they cheer, and oh, we are the best, we're the best, and all of a sudden they realize that they are not the best, and they said they got shocked. it's like you said about change management. Is the customer changing so fast, the technology is changing so fast. When all this converge into something which is totally unprepared by the contact center management. So we look at how we're going to look at how AI is going to change that and to transform the contact center, whereby even some of those measures, customer don't care anymore. Because now you look at generation X and Y and baby boomers, millennials and so forth, they all don't really care about how many awards did you win. They only care about, do they solve my problem quickly, with quality, with responsiveness, and all these things. So in that case, the measurement has to change, constantly change based on the customer feedback. And so I think you also realize that a lot of companies and contact centers or different companies are implementing ESG, which stands for environment, social sustainability, and governance. So they integrate ESG into the contact center. All of a sudden, then they open up a lot of can of worms. And how do we fix some of these things? And we shouldn't be using standard and old outdated measurements to judge how we're going to provide our customer service. So the social sustainability is important for the contact center, and how do we sustain it? And if I give you an example, whereby it's a hotel case, because I travel quite a bit, and then I always collect case studies from hotels and airlines. And these particular hotels, they somehow remember me into the system, right? So they know that I like drinking certain type of tea, and when I check in, it was about 8 o'clock in the evening, and I was obviously tired, uh, and this lady come to me and said, "Mr. Yuen, welcome back to our hotel. Please come to the 33rd floor, a room which is already ready for you. There's no need to check in. There's no need to show your passport and credit card and so forth." At that point, I was so gracious. Said, "How wow, these hotels really got it in terms of my experience was so great at that time." And then I would never check in the other hotel, but this one. So they satisfy me. However, the next times I check in the hotel, they forgot to do the same thing. So
Mm.
I'm totally disappointed. So it's not consistent. So customer experience is so difficult to do because consistency of that service become very critical. And again, if the systems is going to put all these things together, then you need to have a robust system to make sure that you are having a consistent service level based on the customer's preference. So that's again an example what I see. The customer expectations start to change, and they are high expectation. You got to just continue to move and meeting those expectations.
Yeah, I think besides the empathy that you mentioned right from the beginning, and then until, when we talk about the, technology talking to each other, in the first place and linking it up so that, people like us, when we pick up a customer's call or customer's contact, we'll be able to know the history of it, to be able to share and be consistent in our delivery in sharing the right information, and even being, knowing more about you to be able to help you more at the end of the day. The example that you shared resonated a little bit with me because many years ago I was doing a lot of mystery shopping,
Mhm.
and one of the hotel that we were doing, where we actually asked they were testing a little bit on proactiveness, okay, of customer service, where as a customer you're supposed to go to a one of the lounge, the business lounge, and you're supposed to say, hey, engage with the customer service person, and thereafter pretend the mystery shopper is supposed to be pretending that he has a little bit of a neck problem. And with that, the idea is that the person who is servicing you at the the business lounge, is supposed to be going back and say, maybe there's some pillow thing that we can offer to you and change your pillows proactively and offer that. And in fact, going back to the hotel room, what I understand from the mystery shopper is that they actually provided two or three different pillows for the person to change, and that's for him to decide because they've detected this as a problem during one of the interaction. That was very, very impressive. But like you said, the next time when the person goes in again, will this be happening on similar things? The expectation is different, right? you
Yes,
know
yes, yes. I think proactivity is so important. I think you strike the right word because if you're not proactive and then forget about serving our customer to the best of our ability. You know.
and how can we keep it up, because we can't be doing that for every single interaction, but the more important thing is that you are touching on the right point, the right empathy, and not over empathizing or under empathizing in this
Rosalind,
area.
we have robots, right? So our job will be redundant very soon.
Well, that's how we're going to get over the robot part, and be
Yeah,
more human
exactly.
about things, using technology. And
Exactly.
I think one of the things that I find for that best practice today may be not the best practice tomorrow, in a sense, is because, I still remember back in the customer satisfaction days when we were doing a lot of organization KPIs. Okay, I see a lot of folks still using CSAT KPIs, for example, or even right now, I still see a lot of companies using NPS.
Hmm.
You know, what is your philosophy or your thought about these KPIs that's still driving organization on that customer service part?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because all these measurements, at the end, as I said earlier, customer don't really care, and we just have to change the way we measure our customer. I'm not a believer of averages and percentage. When a contact center says, "Oh, we achieved 95% of a customer satisfaction score," it means nothing to me. What if I'm the what if I was the other 5%, which is not satisfied? So the averaging, the percentage are really misleading to a one-on-one. So technology one day is going to help us to really measure it one to one based on their culture, based on their way of doing things, and based on their expectations and all this. So one day we're going to have this uh, technology enable contact center together with the human empathy, and that is going to be the winning formula, Wesley.
Okay. All right. And I think so too. To me, I think every company is different, every
Mm,
business is different. Sure, we try to use similar, I would say, operations index, across the board to measure ourselves against other companies. But really, what is unique to you is really very unique. Even if you are in the same industry, I really think that businesses should try to look at the KPIs that really drive themselves and be able to look at it from that point of view versus just looking at, for example, MPS and things like this. I feel that these are just indicators for you to measure a little bit, but not so much on your own business and how well you do.
Oh, absolutely. Because when you said about the measurement is still important, but somehow you got to go beyond this in terms of living your life and using indicators because that was not going to give you an extraordinary life. You got to be happy. You got to serve your customer. At the end of the day, you feel good about you serve the customer and they solve their problems and all that. So.
Okay. Well, you've also shared, we've talked about this, right? The World Economic Forum shares back in 2020
Mm,
that by 2030, 1 million jobs will be transformed by technology.
mm,
So we've spurred, I know this spurred your interest in the education sector. So
mm.
how do you think technology will continue to transform the CX space? And how should professionals do, what should we do to stay ahead?
Yeah, your previous speaker, I think I heard from your previous speaker saying that best customer service is no need for service. And if I look at that statement, if we use technology to proactively managing the customer experience journey, then obviously um, he doesn't need to call. So that's one part of it. Both from in terms of less traffic, uh, saving of resources, as well as don't costing. different time, more time for the customer to call you and that kind of thing. I think one thing that we need to be aware is how technology is going to transform the process itself. When the process a lot of hands-on and hand-off, you're bound to have mistakes. Or those you do not want to automate efficiency, you want to have effective and efficient operation, which means you need to constantly revise your process, because your process drive how the contact center is going to be organized. So if I look at that, and then all the contact center manager, directors, vice president, and to the agents has to be develop their skills, like critical thinking skills, design skill, empathy, listening skill, and all these new works that need to be done need to be learned. And also, they also need to be technologists, because the fine line between customers' experience and technology is now very blurred. So the back end moving to the front end, which means that I also know something about process. I don't have to transfer the call to the technical department for that matters. So if we can constantly starting our students on how to serve customers well, and then how do you develop innovative skill using technology as an enabler, then the technology is going to be a really good, really a good way of managing forward for the company.
Yeah, I think so because I do believe that in some aspect of things, the best service when you buy a product you want or a service, you want nothing to go wrong.
Mm,
So you ask for perfect experience in a sense. But when something goes wrong, that's when how do you expect the company or the business to actually help you make sure it's all good again? So I have a dream, I was telling my family about it, saying that right now I'm traveling. Grab is so expensive now in Singapore. I don't know about you guys, but it's freaking expensive here.
mm,
And to travel one way, 20 minutes cost us could be around 20 to $30 for
mm,
one way. And I was saying I couldn't wait for the self-drive cars to come to Singapore, because I could ask my sister-in-law's car to drive me home and drive the car can drive themselves back, and can save a lot of, Grab, for example, these charges and things like that. And this is the beauty of technology, where we could actually make use of it in our comfort, and hopefully, doesn't go wrong in that sense. And that's how, as a customer, we can make better use of technology in a different aspect of things. And that's how I hope that as we buy our services and also our anything that you do, any business that you do, you'll be able to do that. What you believe you bought the product for, or the service is for, at least.
yeah, I mean, it's like
So
you said, driving, right? So driving is necessary, but drivers are not. Banking,
yes,
banking is necessary. Banks are not, right? So educating is necessary for our children, for ourselves, for our colleague, right? Schools are not, right? So we are moving from this, because our technology enabler is to really challenging the status quo and the old way of doing things. So and that way you're using the word dreams is great, because corporate use vision is so, I hate the word vision, right? But we also about dreams. So it is, if the CEO stand in front of the employees, we have a dream for our company. That is much more human than we have a vision and have a mission and all these corporate consulting words that we've been using. Being a consultant myself for many years, I finally wake up and said, "Hey, my customer is telling me stop talking about all this mission. I don't really care, but I just care if you serve me to the best of your ability, that kind of thing."
yeah.
So yeah,
True, true, true. I
yeah,
resonate much better if, for example, like you said, they were to come to me and say, talk about my dreams, what it is that I'm looking for in the future with some stories,
yeah,
regardless of whether it's true or it's happening right now. But like my story of the self-service is a dream.
yeah,
It's coming true,
yeah.
just how long it will take. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're just going to go through a few questions with you just to understand you a little bit further. So Sydney, what does your morning routine look like? I know you have a very cute dog called Lily. So I see a picture all the time.
Yeah, I get up quite early. I'm an early riser, and what I call it a DWT. So I drink not alcohol. I drink warm water. Warm water followed by a cup of coffee, and then I take a walk with Lily. Lily is my 14 years old poodle, and she's in human terms she's about 80 now. So, but she's still jumpy and is not behaving
Wow.
like a small baby. And I have Lily, and then take a walk for about half an hour, and then I talk to myself. So this is a
You
perfect
talk to
time.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I talk to myself, and then I talk to Lily. So this way I get inspiration. So I do that every day consistently, and this is how my morning routine. At the end of the day, I'm grateful for I'm still alive, and then having a very healthy lifestyle, and then have many friends across the world like you and others.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So I think one of the unique thing I know about you is you grew up in Ireland. So what is the one thing that you're still very, very Irish about?
Well, yeah, I think you have my answers. The Irish sense of humor is so fascinating, right? Obviously followed by drinking. So I grew up there. I did my educations, both my high school and also my university educations there. And then in the evening, we all go to pubs. Probably 95% of the people go to pub, not just pure for drinking, but socializing. And then we talk about things. And if a stranger come into the pub, and then within about 10 to 15 minutes, they become great friends. So they tell the life story to a stranger, and and start drinking and so forth. And then they drank too much, they got drunk, right? And then there are two types of buildings in Ireland. One is pubs. There's so many pubs, bars, and there are many churches, right? So it's a Catholic country. So they got drunk, they did something wrong, and they go to confession, and the priest forgive them. So since they are forgiven, and they went back to the pub to drink again. So this is where I
Yeah,
went through the whole cycle. This is a wonderful country. You should visit the country. You haven't been there. So
I will. I will. I think I need some confession as well and drinking, no problem. I'll go there for a pint of Guinness.
yes, yes, the best in the world.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. We'll have time to do it together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you could go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self something, what would it be?
Well, it's good question. I would probably travel more. Um, I would probably will be take more risk. Take more risk, travel more, and and I also advise my young students to do the same. Do not buy. Do not use the money to buy a Gucci bags, but use the money to travel and then to experience cross cultural habits and meeting new friends, and you will never feel sorry for it.
Yeah,
So
we just discovered that a colleague of ours, have done 700 dives or something, and then I don't know how many skydiving he has done.
wow.
So so I'm not too sure. That kind of risk, I think, requires a certain a good heart. Yeah,
Okay.
but I think it's good to try nevertheless.
Yes.
Definitely, I would also say that I wish I started traveling a little bit more when I
Mhm.
was younger.
Mhm.
But we are making up for it as we go.
Yeah. Never too late, Osling.
Yes, never too late. So I'm traveling tomorrow,
Okay.
so that's good. I will share with you when I come back, from Tibet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Great.
if you live in a country, if you were to choose, just one country for the rest of your life, so which country would you live in?
Well, you have to guess it. It has to be China. China is so big. I have traveled to about 100 cities in China. There are 290 cities in the country, and each
So
one has its uniqueness. The language, the food, the people. the architecture and everything and the nature beauty of China. I'm not saying other countries are not, but somehow, if I want to, I still have a lot to do, and I'm I'm planning all the time to travel to different part of the world, and obviously putting more emphasis to China. Yes.
Yes, yes, for sure. Even for myself and my family members, we are planning in the next 2 to 3 years. We are just concentrating on China because there's so much to explore.
Well, Tibet is great, so you will have a great time.
Yes, I certainly hope so. Prepping myself for it right now. So, my last question. So, Guinness or Irish whiskey?
Guinness.
Guinness.
Mm.
Okay, high five. I'm the same as well. Okay, great. I think that concludes our time today. And, thank you very much, Sydney. It's been
Thank
very
you.
nice speaking and aligning. I hope that we are doing this face to face in future in the next round when you're in Singapore and when I'm in Hong Kong.
I look forward to it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.